Sorry about that. So, yeah, where were we? Ngumus. Yeah, so ngumus are a Kenyan delicacy. They are more like mandazi. So you get the wheat flour, you knead it into dough, and then you cut small bits of it and you deep fry it. That is what we call ngumus. And now in high school, that used to be like our staple food from the canteen. So if you didn't like whatever was being served in the kitchen within the high school menu, you would go get your ngumus and maybe buy some coffee or cocoa and make some cold tea and drink it with the ngumus. So during break time, I noticed that so many people were either holding their ngumus that they bought till the next day, and by the time that is the next day is getting there, if you bought 3 or 4 yesterday, you're probably remaining with one, but you have an appetite for more. So what did I do, the business entrepreneur that I am? I decided to test out a theory. So I decided to buy ngumus, extra ngumus that I didn't need, so that I can see whether I can sell them the next day. So I would send people to the canteen and I would get like, now that I'm making more money from the pin pops, but I'm only doing pin pops like 3 or 4 times in a month, right? So first of all, the times that you get into school, so the opening days and the midterms, those are two particular seasons, and then let's say like 3 more seasons in between of school trips or some lucky endeavor where someone goes out and they bring that back. So I decided that I needed something that could occupy my time in between the spaces and the seasons of the candy sales. So I decided to start the ngumu business. So I would buy like 50 ngumus, I would store them, and then the next day, just before class, just before 11, you're just like, your desk is full of ngumus. By 11, everyone is getting their cup and just passing by your desk, passing by your desk. Yo, here's 20 bob, I need two. So I was buying them at 5 bob, selling them at 10 bob. Again, double the amount of money that I bought. Get the product, add your markup, that's your profit, and then you slap your price. And if the demand is there, then people are going to buy. So you guys, I sold ngumus. I got to a point where I was selling so much, I couldn't even store these things within my own resources. So my box was vandalized so much that I stopped closing it. My desk was vandalized so much that I stopped storing my goodies there. So now I had to think about storage. That was an extra cost. So I'd buy like 10 gumus, store that with one person. Buy another batch of 10, store that with another person. Buy another batch of 10, store that with another person. Buy another batch of 10, store that with another person. So by the time I'm going to bed, I have like 50 to 100 ngumus that are spread across the dormitories. We had 7 dormitories, spread across the 7 dormitories to unique people that no one knows. So now the D-Day, when I'm selling it now the next day, there's like a small break time between 9:30 and 9:45 for you to go to the washroom and come back and continue the next lesson. And then now there's the tea break at 11. So that small break between 9:30 and 9:40, that is where now my warehouse managers, if I may say that, my warehouse managers would go and procure these particular products for me. They would bring my 10 gumus, I'd give them one, I remain with 9, I sell those 9 for 10 shillings, I get 90 bob. And I spent, let's say 50 bob, that's an extra 40 bob. If it's an extra 40 bob for every packet of 10, imagine that I've bought 100 ngumus. So again, multiply that. You're going to find that I'm getting again almost 400, 500 shillings a day. And I'm like, well, this is exciting. I'm getting money. So I used to walk around with a pouch underneath my sweater. So a pouch that was, I used to, it was like a funny pack. I used to, like a small purse that I used to position here under my armpit. So it had change, it had candy, and it had ngumus. So I'd walk around. We would meet with you anywhere. I'm ready to do business. Come at me, I'm ready. I'm ready. Why? Because the demand was there. There were so many students who wanted more things to eat. They wanted a larger variety of candy, but it was not there. It was not being provided by the school. It was not being provided by the canteen. It was not there. It was not present. But I discovered that opportunity and I started to provide that. So I started to sell candy. I went into ngumus. I also did bread. There's a time that we used to buy a loaf of bread at 40 shillings, and that had like 12 slices. So if you were to sell each slice at 5 shillings, you would arrive at 60 shillings. So that is like you've bought a loaf, you've sold it for a loaf and a half. So within due time, that money accumulates as well. So at a certain point, I had so many things circulating that now I had to hire people to go to these different dorms, because if the break period was only 30 minutes and I had 7 dormitories, and each dormitory had the first side for Form 1s and Form 2s and the second side for Form 3s and Form 4s, I could not manage to supply all those areas in that limited time. So I had to hire people. So I had people in different dormitories who, number one, were the warehouse managers, and then number two, the retail, the retail side of that particular team. So I would get the goods from the warehouse managers and then distribute it to my retail team. Because if the retail team stored those products, someone would come and vandalize their box and steal your stock during the hours when you're in class or whatever. So I had to be very smart about it. Who stores it is not the same person who sells it, and the person who sells it is not the person who stores it. There's that discrepancy, and all the money comes to me, and then I send it to the bazaar. So I don't have a lot of money with me at any given point, so that even if I am mugged somewhere in school, I don't have big losses. So that initially just cemented the idea of business for me. And let me tell you something interesting. Um, I think it's always a conversation that happens in African families, when a kid wants to get a phone. So I remember within our family, the framework was you need to finish Form 4 or you need to get to 18 years of age so that we can buy you a phone. So being the last born again, firstborn has already gotten to 18, they have gotten their phone. Secondborn gotten to 18, they have gotten their phone. Now it's just you there, going to school, coming back, you're going to cyber cafes to send people messages on Facebook. You're going to home tuition or tuition during the holidays. You're meeting new friends, you're meeting new potential partners, but you don't have any way of communicating with them apart from calling their mothers and risking your life. Oh God, it was the ghettos. Hello, Mama Jerry. Ni Jonathan. Mimi ni rafiki ya Cynthia. Yeah, that didn't go so well so many times. So it was important for someone to have that independence of having your own phone. But then again, because of peer pressure, who was willing to wait? It's always like, I want it now. I know, yes, we said this was the rule, these were the rules 5 years ago. We have progressed as a species. Now I need to have this phone, man. So my parents were very strict and adamant that, you know what, we're going to give you this phone when you finish your Form 4. When you finish your high school and you get to 18 years, that's when you feel you're responsible enough to have a phone. Mini nani. So I mean, I'm nearing the end of Form 2, and now I have already gotten that space where I'm making money. I'm being given a stipend of 1,000 when I go to school. I'm coming back home with like 5,000. And now my parents are like, Mama Jonathan, did you give him money? No, Baba where did this money come from? And you guys, it grew to a level that by the time I was giving up business, because by the time I got to my last year of high school, I was like, yo, chill, you need to pause this business stuff, because first of all, now you have gotten a very high profile in school. Because first of all, the school environment and management does not accept candies being sold in school, because again, kids will litter, right? and they didn't like that. So they were trying to nab these people who are selling, and they hadn't identified that that was a thing until it became a thing, and I even started getting competitors and all that, but they're not smart enough, so they used to get caught. So it became a thing. You would be in parade, and the principal was like, we are not happy with how these people have brought you. There are certain characters who have brought business into school, and they're selling certain things that they're messing up the school environment. It's looking dirty, and we don't like that. If we find you, you're going to be suspended. They were just there like, yeah, mbili ni 40. Leta mbili ni 40. Yeah, so by the time I was nearing my KCSE, which is the final exam that you do to complete high school, I was like, yo, I need to first pause this business and focus on my schooling, because it had gotten to a point where, again, my parents are very caring, and my dad used to come for me during closing days and midterms. So whenever that ceremony is over, I would find him outside the gate just waiting for me, and he would drive me back home. So at a certain point, I was like, wait, so my dad drives here all alone, gets me, and then drives us back home, and there's a space for 3 other people, and probably I either carry a cousin or my friend or such like, but at a certain point they also have their own people coming for them. So you'll find that there are empty spaces. Who am I? The business person. Let me tell you guys, I was running an Uber with my dad's car. He was the driver and he didn't know. So I was like, you guys, so see, we are leaving Nyeri, we are going to Thika. If you take a matatu, that would cost you averagely 600 shillings at least. And because we know that we are, it's a season for them when they have so many customers, the students who are leaving school, they'll obviously hike the price. So you'll pay like 800 shillings, and then you guys are going to be squashed into a matatu together, like over 14 passengers. So you're going to be like even 15, 17, 20, whatever. The matatu guys don't care. They're going to stuff you in as many as possible. So you do this. You bring me your clean 500 shillings, and I'm going to give you a private seat in a car where you don't have to squeeze yourself in together with other people. You have room in the boot for you to put your luggage. You can put your safety belt, and you have access to the windows, and you can easily cruise with the type of music that you enjoy all the way to Thika. Yeah, and you can even have stopovers, and you can buy food. And that was real convenience for them. And I had people now booking. By the time I was in Form 4, those guys were booking. Like, yo, this closing day, is he coming? Okay, so here's 500 shillings, reserve a seat for me. So that in itself just brought me like 1,500 shillings from the time we left school to the time I got home. So by the time my dad is like, oh, so should I give you something for lunch? I'm like, you chill, relax. You've done enough. You've done enough. I have a little money saved somewhere. I go buy a whole chicken, like 2 liters of ice cream, and go home with like 20 movies. And my mom is like, Baba Jonathan, Kwani, how much did you give him? Like, but I didn't give him anything. I thought you're the one who gave him money. I was just there like, now what do I do with this money? I used to buy earphones. I would buy those flipping earphones. I would buy for different colors. So every single holiday, I would have like 6 or 7 different earphones that are just like use that matched my outfit and all that. I just like, I had money and I didn't know what to do with it. So now back to that conversation of having a phone. So my parents are like, yo, we're not going to buy you a phone until you finish high school. And I was like, oh, so that's the deal. Sawa, no problem. However, if I get my own money, can I buy my own phone? That's okay. You get your own money, you buy, we'll support you. Okay, sawa. I went back to school one term. I had already come back with enough money. So interestingly enough is the first smartphone, actually the first phone I ever had was an LG phone. And this phone, at that time and point, was the most expensive phone any of my family members had. And the reason I was able to buy this phone was from the business that I was doing in school. So I went back, did my thing, sold those pin pops, sold those ngumus, sold that bread, and now did that Uber. I really need to fill my dad's car a couple of times just to say thank you for that. But anyway, so the business that I was doing in school enabled me to buy my first smartphone. And I remember I had all the money. I went to a Safaricom shop, so part of it was I paid for it in cash, and part of it was being paid for in Bonga points. So I told my dad, "There's this phone I have identified. It goes for this amount of shillings." Like, what? Ah, that's your budget. I'm like, no. So we can get a deal. Can get a deal whereby we pay 6K cash and then like 5,000 bonga points. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Do you have the bonga points? Yeah. And he's like, but where are we going to get the cash? Ah, you don't worry. You don't worry. I'll take care of that. So I went, got my money. Actually, I even had more than 6K. I got that money from the bazaar, came back home, went with him to the Safaricom shop, and I bought my first smartphone. So that's the story of how I got my first smartphone. So fast forward, now I'm in Form 4. I've done business so much that I'm like, yo, now I need to leave this to other people, or I need to focus on other things, my exam, that is. So I finished my high school, and now I'm done with Form 4. At the end of the year, we used to have that period of time when the results were announced, and then you stayed at home waiting now to be admitted to university. So I remember during that period, after now the exams are done in November, December, you're staying at home wondering, okay, so what am I going to do with the rest, the next like 8 months or so? So my mother recommended something to me. She told me there's this programming school where they teach people how to create mobile applications, and they teach people how to build websites and all that. It's all techie and all that. And there's someone who has gone there, and right now he's working with on a number of projects with Microsoft. So try to do that. Maybe it can be an opening for you. So I was not into that. I dropped computer studies in Form 1, so I was already feeling illiterate in terms of technology. I was just like, yeah, this passed me, man. How do you tell me to progress to programming and I don't even know the parts of a computer and how to attach a computer together? So they tell me that you just go to the school, see how it's like. If you like the vibe, we'll pay for you. If you don't, it's all good. So I remember the first of January 2015, I take a matatu from Thika. I go to Nairobi for the first time by myself. I take another matatu using Google Maps. Now I go to Westlands. I find a school called Immobilis Institute. I go to Immobilis. I ask them about the programs. They sound so good, but I know I'm not a techie as per se. So I already feel like this has already passed me. What am I doing here? So the caveat was, now by the end of that whole tour, the secretary, I remember her name, she was Ruth. She asked me, so will you be staying at home or will you be staying in the hostels? I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, will you be commuting from Thika, or will you be staying in the hostels here in Westlands? Like, there's an option B, hostels. How is that like? So she again connected me with someone who took me to those hostels I saw. So it was a house that was partitioned, and basically the students were living there. And you pay like a rent of 10K a month. You're given breakfast and dinner on weekdays, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on weekends. So it's like you're sorted out, basically. So I was like, you know what? I was not sure about this, but now I am sure. Why? Because all my life I've always wanted to go to Nairobi. I've always wanted to know Nairobi, but I was born in Eldoret, came to Thika, went to high school in Nyeri. So I am as illiterate about Nairobi as they come. But it has always been the city of glamour. So I'm overexcited to go there and to learn about the Nairobi ways. The Nairobi ways. So long story short, I go back home with the good news. By the 4th of January 2015, I have already enrolled into Immobilis. I'm a student. I take, that's now the first time that I moved out of my parents' home. So they take me to that particular hostel in Westlands. And it was along, is it Rafter Road? Yeah, somewhere there. So that in itself was a new experience. It was a new environment, new people, new capital, and just new everything. And I loved that because I was always feeling like I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I love this idea of business. I don't know what I'm doing learning about websites and mobile applications. I think I'm going to figure it out as I go. But I just love this environment where I'm seeing people driving Range Rovers and expensive cars, not the Pro Box and Fielders that I'm used to. Not throwing shade, but essentially that exposure really opened up my mind to what is possible. And I loved that. I loved seeing people who looked like my age mates, but they're driving brand new cars with no number plates. And I'm like, wow, I want to get there. I want to get there. How do I get there? So fast forward one of the days, I'm leaving Immobilis, the class at Immobilis. I'm just walking that Delta Corner area in Westlands, and I meet a guy. I'll never forget this guy. His name is Patrick. I meet this guy, and it's like, you guy, how are you? You're coming from your studies? Okay, so how would you like to make money? Like, this guy's speaking my language. This guy's speaking my language. Man, I have been in Westlands for almost a month now. I have been seeing people with monies going out is now a thing. Oh God, I hope my parents don't know this. Yeah, going out is now a thing, but the money that I'm getting as a stipend, Haitoshi, it's not enough. So what do I do? Here's someone coming to me with a solution. How do you make money? So I'm interested instantly. How can I make money in the real world now? So he takes me to an office now, one of the offices just near Safaricom, along Wayaki Way. And he takes me to that office, and he now introduces me to the company. The company is a Swedish cosmetic company. I'm not going to mention which one, but it's a Swedish cosmetic company. So he tells me about how the company works. He tells me that, okay, so these are our products. We sell beauty products, from skincare products to makeup to fragrances to even things that you need during body wash and all that, during your shower experience, all that. So I'm like, sounds so good, but they are kind of expensive. Yeah. So this is the price range for our products, and what happens is our products are really high quality. They are made in Sweden. They come in and they are very high quality, and they are very preferred by the market because they know that this is good stuff. So the thing is, for you to be able now to see the business aspect of this, what you're going to do is you're going to join this company. So you pay a membership of 500 shillings, and when you're a member, you're going to automatically get a discount on all our products. So instead of buying these products at 100%, you're going to buy them at 80%, and the 20% is your margin or your markup. So for example, if we have this perfume here for men that is going for 4,000 shillings, what you're going to do is you yourself are going to buy it for 3,200 shillings if you are a member, and then if you find someone who can buy it for 4,000, well and good, sell it to them for 4,000. But even in your own personal consumption, instead of paying 4,000, why don't you become a member and buy it for 3,200 shillings? You save yourself about 800 shillings. So I sit down and I consult myself, and I'm like, this sounds like a good idea. Why? Because the problem has already been identified by the mother company. They've already provided a solution. Not only that, but the market identifies the quality of the solution, and it agrees that that quality is excellent or is stellar. But not only that, I don't have to explain to my customers why I put a markup of a certain amount. You know, if you, let's say, buy a product for 1,000 and you're selling it for 5,000, there has to be a rationale as to why you have added a markup of 4,000. You get, there has to be a justifiable cause as to why you're putting that markup of that amount. So for me, within Oriflame, what I loved about them, I've just mentioned them. For me, within that Swedish cosmetic company, what I loved about them was the fact that they had already dictated their price. So if you got that catalog and you are able to go to someone and tell them that, hey, there's this product that you're selling and it's going for 4,000 shillings. It's already there. It's already concretized that that product is going for 4,000.